Okay, in today's video, I'm going to show you how much money I make as a plasterer. I'm going to show you the good and I'm going to tell you the honest truth. So I'm also going to show you the bad. So you'll get to hear exactly how much I make, how much I plan to make in a day, what my general aim is. Hello, Blaine Gray at Plastering For Beginners. In today's video, I'm going to show you and tell you how much money I make as a plasterer. But before we start, I just want to go by saying this isn't a guide for anyone who's a plasterer to copy my rates. This is why I've always held off from doing these types of videos, because every area in the UK is totally different from the next. So the rates I'm going to tell you today is just what I do personally. I live down southeast, I live in Hastings, which generally means it's a bit more expensive place to live, which therefore your wages are a bit higher. It's not standard for every job, but in the trade that I'm in, it is in particular that way. So before I start, this isn't a guide for everyone else as a plasterer to copy it. This is why I've always restrained from telling how much I earn as a plasterer and telling you how much I make on a job. But for the past two videos, I've had requests after comments about how much I earn on this job. So I just thought I'd finally break the silence. But again, I just want to get that out of the way. This isn't a how-to video on how to price up jobs. You've got to find your own rates for your own area and for your own standard of work. So to start with, the rates I'm going to mention is before tax. So I'm going to give you a figure, knock at least 20% off, and then that's where I'm going to roughly stand in. The other thing is, it doesn't allow for any time spent quoting jobs, looking at jobs, and time replying to customers. This is time that you lose. I am self-employed, I work for myself, so I have to do that for myself. And before we start, you don't get paid for any of that. So you have to tender for work, you have to go out and quote for it. It might take me an evening to quote a big job and I might not even get it. I might have to travel on the other side of town just to see the job. I might not get it. So everything I'm going to tell you, you've got to bear in mind that there is a lot of time lost just looking for the work. And this is what no one talks to you about. I'm going to give you the God's honest truth and how much I earn as a plasterer. But I also want to make it blatantly clear that the time lost, the expenses lost. You hear so many people saying, oh, plasterers are millionaires and whatever, and bricklayers are millionaires. But no one tells you the truth on how much time is spent looking for the work and how much time is spent just trying to dig the work up in the first place. So just bear in mind that there is a lot of that. And in this video, I'm going to be really truthful and just try and paint it in plain, clear day exactly what a plasterer makes. My rates, before I go into how much I earn now, when I first started plastering, I was earning 50 quid a day. So, so for anyone who wants to be a plasterer and make a load of money from the beginning, it's probably not the case. I made 50 quid a day in Manchester. I was, granted, very new to the game, but that's how much I was earning at the beginning. So I had to work my way all the way up to where I am now. I've been plastering, coming to 14 years now, on and off. I've had trips away, but on and off 14 years. So it's taken me a while to get to where I am right now. So with that in mind, to put it bluntly, as a plasterer, I want to be making at least £200 to £250 a day. Again, that's before tax. That's what I want to be getting at my current position in time. I want to be making from £200 to £250 a day plastering. That's minimum, at least 200. I'm going to walk you through the figures, I'm going to show you examples, and I'm going to show you clear detail on how I got to that point. But that is the minimum I want to be making. So that is the baseline. And now I'm going to talk to you about what I'd make with specific examples of jobs and real life examples, real life figures. So let's get into it. First example is, I'm just going to go off the last two YouTube videos I've done. So the first of the two was two ceilings. I did two ceilings for a friend. And here's where I'm going to go into two examples. You've got two ways of making money. You've got day rate and you've got meterage or price work. Price work is generally what the masses seem to go for if you are self-employed or if you're running your own company. Then the way forward is meterage or price work. And that basically means the amount you put in and the output you do in plastering equals to the amount of money you earn. And by the way, this is why being a tradesman is so powerful, because you decide your own rates. The faster you get, So in plastering, the more walls I plaster, the more meterage I cover, the more money I make. Bricklayers are the same. Depending on how many bricks they lay a day, the more money they'll make. Basically, the faster you are, whilst keeping a standard of work, which again is a different case altogether, but the faster you are as a tradesman, the more money you'll make. So the first video was 2 ceilings I did in day. I only shot 1 ceiling. It was quite a big ceiling. I think it was 44 square meters. I didn't do inside the skylight, so let's take away 4 square meters. So let's say the first ceiling I did 40 square meters I covered, and then I did another little one next door, which was 25 square meters. So that was 65 square meters of plastering I did in a day. Again, compared to some site workers, that's very small. But that's just my personal output on that particular day. So my rates in Hastings, I charge £9.50 to £10 a square metre. So that's all in. So if we take £1 off that for allowing for materials, I'm roughly want to be making £8.50 to £9 per square metre. So doing the maths, I'm not going to do it right now, just let me get out my calculator. So if I did that on price, according to my own rates, I would have made 520 quid. That's in one day. I didn't do that. I did it for a friend and did it on a day rate. Now, let's break this down a little bit. What I didn't say is, one, I had a labourer with me. He was 100 quid for the day. And actually, I didn't make that at all. It was for a friend. I actually made £200. So that's what I could have made. That's what potentially could have been made. But I just want to make it clear. In terms of meterage, I rarely get that done in a day. I usually do for around 40 square meters, roughly, a day, which changes things. And that sometimes don't even get all that done, because if I'm prepping a room, PVA in, putting the beads on, I might only get 1 gauge on second half of the day. So these are just extreme examples of what you can make on a good day. So let's take away the labour. Say if that was on price, it would have been about 420. But I just wanted to be truthful with you here and point out some of the other facts that are involved. Let's carry on. That is an example of a good run in plastering. Now, the other scenario I did was a second YouTube video. I did basically a summer house. I turned up, it wasn't massive, but by the time I unpacked, got it beaded up, scrim taped, and prepped it, it was roughly about an hour in. But because it wasn't a massive job, I thought I'd just do it in one hit. So I skimmed the whole room, plastered it all in one hit. Roughly took 3.5 hours. Again, about 40 minutes clean up, packed up. We're roughly looking at about 5 hours work. And that came in at, so the room was, it was £355 meterage. That's all in. So if we take away, say, 40 quid in materials, say 50 quid, I come out of 300 quid for that little summer room. So for 5 hours work, it was 300 quid. But I'm not going to do any other jobs in that time. By the time I packed up, cleaned up, that's that day done. So they're 2 examples of where I've done quite well in plastering. But I also want to show you the flip side and also reveal why it's not always, rainbows and butterflies. I did this one particular job. I posted this on YouTube. It was a good while ago. I was set to do some rendering. It was hot. It was windy. It was right on the sea. And basically, I messed up massively. It was totally my fault. I didn't hose the wall down. I didn't add enough hydration before rendered. And I messed it up royally. It was around 13 to 14 square meters of render. So not a massive area. But basically, I rendered it and completely ruined it. So not only did I ruin the wall, I had to go back the next day to sort it. I had to pay for materials again, because even though it's for subcontract, it was my mess up, so I had to pay for materials. I had to pay for a primer to go over the render, so I could re-render it again. And then I also had to fork out for myself to do it. So in total, I think I lost about 400 quid there. We're looking at about £400 lost from one day's work that went wrong. So for every good job, there's also a bad job. The jobs I've shown you were 2 prime examples. The problem is with meterage, I might have a good run of rooms and I might end up doing a little store cupboard or around a boiler or around a little, basically like a stair winder. Stair winders, you have to charge more. But basically, for every good, there is bad where it's not always that profitable. So basically, it is good most of the time, but it's also, you've got to deal with being self-employed and working for myself as a plasterer, that you have got to take the rough with the smooth. It's not always good. I pay for my own insurance. I've got a private pension, pay for all my van insurance. When I go on holiday, I don't get paid. So as a plasterer, I can make good money, but that's one, through a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of experience and me building up my trade reputation as a plasterer. And two, it's just basically having the ability to tackle large areas in one hit. So the good thing about the trade is you can work your way up, but I don't want anyone who's new to the game thinking you're instantly going to be wadded by making a load of money as a plasterer. It isn't true, and it isn't always that case, because you do have to start on the lowest stage. The problem is with being a trade where you make more money the more you put out, or your output, is the fact that you are very slow at the beginning. So you're doing little, 2 walls maybe a day. And basically that's, on meterage, isn't loads of money. So that's when we go into day rate. So the first example I've shown you is I mainly only work on meterage. That's my aim. And I'm roughly want to be covering at least 4 to 5 bags a day in plastering, which is roughly 40 to 50 square meters. So we're looking at around 350 quid. That's excluding the prep, by the way, but I want to be doing that every day. So we're looking at that roughly. Again, that's not money in a pocket, because everything else you've got to fork out for. But if we are on day rate, that's a totally different problem and totally different subject. Basically, if I'm on day rate, I'm looking at least £200 a day. And that's just my personal rates if I'm going out to say, if the work's been prepped beforehand, if the job's a nice, easy, tidy, whatever, a few rooms, then I'm looking at least £200 a day. The problem is with that, I'll make more money on meterage, which is why I prefer just to do meterage. You can't justify putting yourself out at how much a day, because other tradesmen don't necessarily like you putting a high price in, because they've got to keep their margins low. So if you are starting out, I recommend you start with a builder, learn a trade, and just do it on day rate. Start low. You'll have to start low because you've got to learn. And it's simple as that. You've got to learn the trade, and you've got to take the hit of having a bit of a crap salary, I'm afraid. That's just the way it is. And then as you get better, you progress, the more meterage you can put on, you can start doing private work and then start trying to make money elsewhere. So anyway, that was a quick video on how much money I make as a plasterer. I hope it made sense. I wanted to show you 2 examples, and I just wanted to give you a rough outline on how much can be made in the trade. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to our channel. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.